You're here today because something inside you is stirring. A voice that's been whispering, now shouting, telling you it's time for change. It's time to stop being soft to everyone. This isn't about becoming cold or cruel. It's about reclaiming your power, setting boundaries, and living life on your own terms. Think back to a time when you said yes, when every fiber of your being wanted to say no. Remember how that felt? The weight in your chest, the knot in your stomach, the voice in your head screaming, why did I agree to this? That's the cost of being too soft, of always putting others before yourself. But today, we're going to change that. We're going to build a new you strong. Assertive and unapologetic about your needs and desires. This isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. This is growth. The world doesn't reward the overly accommodating. It takes advantage of them. Every time you bend over backwards for someone who wouldn't do the same for you, you're not being kind, you're being a doormat. And doormats get walked all over. Now, I'm not saying you should stop being compassionate or helpful. Far from it. True strength lies in knowing when to extend a hand and when to make a fist. It's about discernment, about understanding that your time, your energy, your resources, they're precious. They're finite. And you need to guard them fiercely. The oxygen mask principle on airplanes. They always tell you to secure your own mask before helping others. Why? Because if you pass out trying to help everyone else, you're no good to anyone. The same principle applies to life. You need to take care of yourself first. You need to be strong, to be centered, to be whole. Only then can you truly be of service to others. So how do we start this transformation? How do we go from being pushovers to being powerhouses? It begins with a single word. No, such a small word. Yet so many of us struggle with it. We fear conflict. We fear disappointment. We fear missing out. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to something that does. Imagine a life where you're not constantly overextended, where you're not always rushing from one obligation to another, where you're not perpetually stressed and resentful. That life is within your grasp. But you have to reach out and take it. You have to be willing to disappoint some people. You have to be willing to ruffle some feathers. Remember, the people who get upset when you set boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none. Their discomfort is not your problem. Their expectations are not your responsibility. Your life is yours to live, not theirs to dictate. And now, some of you might be thinking, but isn't this selfish? Shouldn't we always try to help others into that? I say absolutely help others. But help from a place of strength, not obligation. Help because you want to, not because you feel you have to. Help in ways that don't deplete you, but fulfill you. Think of yourself as a battery. Every interaction, every task, every obligation either charges you up or drains you down. Your job is to make sure you stay charged, because a dead battery can't jump, start anyone else's car. So how do we build this inner strength? How do we develop the courage to stand firm in the face of demands and expectations? It starts with self-awareness. You need to know your values, your priorities, your non-negotiables. You need to have a clear vision of what you want your life to look like. Close your eyes. Visualize your ideal day. Not a vacation day, but an ordinary Tuesday. What does it look like? How do you spend your time? Who do you interact with? How do you feel? That vision, that's your compass. That's what you're working towards. And anything that doesn't align with that vision needs to be scrutinized, needs to be questioned, needs to be potentially eliminated. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Breaking old patterns never is. You'll face resistance from others. Yes, but also from yourself. That little voice that says, but what if they get angry? What if they don't like me anymore? What if I miss out on an opportunity? That voice is fear talking. And fear is a liar. The truth is, when you start respecting yourself, others will follow suit. When you value your time and energy, others will too. When you set clear boundaries, people will learn to operate within them. Yes, some might fall away. But those are the people who were taking advantage of your softness. They're the energy vampires, the users, the manipulators. And trust me, you're better off without them. Remember that it's a process. You won't transform overnight. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when you slip back into old patterns. And that's okay. Progress isn't linear. What matters is that you keep moving forward. Keep learning. Keep growing. Practice saying no to minor things. A party you don't really want to attend. A favor that would inconvenience you. A project that doesn't align with your goals. Each time you say no, you're flexing a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. But it's not just about saying no. It's also about saying yes. Yes just to yourself. Yes to your dreams. Yes to your well-being. It's about prioritizing your goals, your growth, your happiness. It's about investing in yourself with the same enthusiasm and dedication that you've been investing in others. All the time and energy you've spent trying to please others, trying to meet their expectations, trying to avoid their disappointment. Now imagine channeling all that into yourself. Imagine the progress you could make, the goals you could achieve, the life you could create. This isn't about becoming selfish or inconsiderate. It's about finding balance. It's about understanding that you can't pour from an empty cup. It's about recognizing that by taking care of yourself, by being strong and centered, you're actually in a better position to help others in meaningful, sustainable ways. Be prepared for pushback. People who are used to your softness, your compliance, your constant availability, they might not like this new version of you. They might try to guilt you, to manipulate you, to pull you back into old patterns. Stand firm. Remember why you're doing this. Remember the vision you have for your life. All the right people. The ones who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. They'll appreciate your honesty. They'll support your growth. These are the relationships worth nurturing. These are the connections that will uplift you, challenge you, help you become the best version of yourself. It's guilt. It's going to come up. You're going to feel bad sometimes for putting yourself first. That's normal. That's your old programming trying to reassert itself. But here's what you need to remember. Guilt is not a guide. Just because you feel guilty doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. In fact, when it comes to setting boundaries and prioritizing your well-being, feeling guilty often means you're doing something right. Every time you say yes to something you don't really want to do, you're saying no to something else. No to rest. No to time with loved ones. No to pursuing your passions. No to your own well-being. Is that really the trade-off you want to make? As you practice being less soft, less accommodating, you'll start to notice changes. You'll have more time, more energy, more clarity. You'll feel more in control of your life. You'll start attracting people and opportunities that align with your values and goals. You'll find yourself surrounded by those who respect you, who value you, who support your growth. But it's not just about what you'll gain. It's also about what you'll lose. You'll lose the resentment that comes from always putting others first. You'll lose the stress of trying to please everyone. You'll lose the anxiety of constantly living up to others' expectations. And trust me, these are losses you can celebrate. Now, some of you might be thinking, but I'm a natural giver. I find joy in helping others, and that's beautiful. The world needs givers. But even givers need boundaries. Even givers need to prioritize their own well-being. Because if you burn out, if you deplete yourself, you won't be able to give anymore. And isn't that the ultimate selfish act? So how do you balance being kind and helpful with being strong and assertive? It's about intention and awareness. Before you agree to something, before you offer help, ask yourself, am I doing this because I genuinely want to? Or because I feel obligated? Will this energize me or deplete me? Is this aligned with my values and goals? If the answer is yes, if helping in this instance will fulfill you, then by all means do it. Give generously. But if the answer is no, if this request or obligation will drain you, if it goes against your values or pulls you away from your goals, then it's time to practice that powerful word no. Remember, saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values themselves. It makes you a person with integrity, who lives in alignment with their values and priorities. It makes you a person who understands that you can't be all things to all people. And that's okay. As you continue on this journey of self-empowerment, of learning to stop being soft to everyone, there will be challenges. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when it feels easier to slip back into old patterns. In those moments, I want you to remember this: you are worthy of respect. You are worthy of having your needs met. You are worthy of living a life that fulfills and energizes you. Your time, your energy, your resources, they are precious, they are finite. And you have every right to guard them fiercely. You have every right to be selective about where you invest them. You have every right to prioritize your own well-being, your own growth, your own happiness. This journey isn't about becoming hard or uncaring. It's about becoming discerning. It's about understanding that true strength lies in knowing when to give and when to withhold, when to say yes and when to say no. It's about recognizing that you can be kind without being a pushover, that you can be helpful without being a doormat. I want you to start paying attention to how you feel in different situations. Notice when you feel energized and when you feel drained. Notice when you feel respected and when you feel taken advantage of. Use these feelings as a guide. They're your internal compass, pointing you towards what's right for you. And remember, it's okay to change your mind. If you've agreed to something and then realize it's not in your best interest, it's okay to back out. Yes, it might be uncomfortable. Yes, it might disappoint someone. But your well-being is more important than temporary discomfort or someone else's disappointment. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who inspire you, who you look up to. I bet they're not people pleasers. I bet they're not pushovers. They're likely people who know their worth, who stand firm in their convictions, who aren't afraid to ruffle feathers if it means staying true to themselves. That's the kind of person you're becoming. That's the transformation you're undergoing. As you practice being less soft, you'll start to notice a shift in how people treat you. They'll start to respect your time more. They'll think twice before making unreasonable demands. They'll value your input more because they know it's not given lightly. This is the power of boundaries. This is the reward of self-respect. As you become less available to everyone, you become more available to what truly matters. As you stop spreading yourself thin trying to please everyone, you create space for deep, meaningful connections. As you start saying no to what drains you, you create room to say yes to what fulfills you. Imagine a life where your schedule reflects your priorities, where your relationships are balanced and reciprocal, where you have the time and energy to pursue your passions, to grow, to make a real impact in the areas that matter to you. That's the life you're creating by learning to stop being soft to everyone. Now, I want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking, but what about compassion? What about empathy? Aren't those important qualities? Absolutely they are. True compassion, true empathy, they come from a place of strength, not weakness. When you're depleted, when you're resentful, when you're overwhelmed, you can't truly be there for others. But when you're centered, when you're fulfilled, when you're operating from a place of abundance, that's when you can offer real, meaningful support to others. You're not becoming less compassionate. You're becoming more discerning with your compassion. You're not becoming less helpful. You're becoming more intentional with your help. You're not becoming less kind. You're becoming more authentic in your kindness. You'll start to notice something amazing. The quality of your relationships will improve. Why? Because you're no longer engaging from a place of obligation or fear. You're engaging from a place of genuine desire and enthusiasm. The people in your life will feel this shift. They'll appreciate the authenticity of your interactions. They'll value the time you give them because they know it's given freely. not grudgingly. As you learn to stop being soft to everyone, as you start setting boundaries and prioritizing your well-being, you become a role model for others. You show them that it's okay to prioritize themselves. You demonstrate what healthy boundaries look like. You inspire them to value themselves more by taking care of yourself, by refusing to be a pushover. You're actually helping others in a profound way. You're showing them a better way to live. You're breaking the cycle of people-pleasing and self-neglect that so many of us have been trapped in. Now, I want to be clear about something. This journey of becoming less soft, of setting boundaries, of prioritizing yourself, it's not about becoming selfish or uncaring. It's about becoming balanced. It's about understanding that you can be kind without being a doormat, that you can be helpful without being a martyr, that you can be loving without losing yourself. I want you to start paying attention to the language you use, both with others and with yourself. Notice how often you say, I should. Or after these phrases often indicate that you're acting from a place of obligation rather than choice. Start replacing them with, I choose to. Or I want to. This simple shift in language can have a profound impact on how you feel and how you act. And remember, it's okay to take time to consider requests. You don't have to give an immediate answer. It's perfectly acceptable to say, let me think about that and get back to you. This gives you the space to check in with yourself, to make sure that saying yes aligns with your values and priorities. As you practice being less soft, you'll start to notice an interesting shift. You'll find that you actually have more to give. Why? Because you're no longer giving from a place of depletion. You're giving from a place of abundance. You're giving because you want to, not because you feel you have to. And that kind of giving is powerful. It's genuine. It's impactful. The last time you helped someone out of genuine desire rather than obligation, how did that feel? I bet it felt good. I bet it was fulfilling. That's the kind of giving we're aiming for. That's the kind of generosity that enriches both the giver and the receiver. As you continue on this journey, you'll face challenges. There will be people who don't understand your new boundaries. There will be situations that test your resolve. In those moments, I want you to remember why you started this journey. Remember the vision you have for your life. Remember the person you're becoming: strong, centered, authentic. Every time you stand firm in your boundaries, every time you prioritize your well-being, every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the world around you. You're showing others what's possible. You're breaking the cycle of people-pleasing and self-neglect that's so prevalent in our society. Imagine a world where everyone valued themselves enough to set healthy boundaries, where people engage with each other from a place of authenticity rather than obligation, where kindness and generosity flowed from abundance rather than depletion. That's the world you're helping to create by embarking on this journey. This vision isn't just a dream. It's a reality you're actively building with every boundary you set. Every no you say, every time you choose to prioritize your well-being. You're not just changing your life, you're sending ripples of change through your relationships, your community, and beyond. Consider the impact of your transformation. When you stop being soft to everyone, you create space for genuine connections. People are drawn to authenticity. They respect those who know their worth. By valuing yourself, you're actually increasing your value to others. It might seem counterintuitive, but it's a powerful truth. How many of them are based on genuine mutual respect and understanding? How many are clouded by unspoken resentments, unfulfilled expectations, or one-sided efforts? As you learn to stop being soft, you'll find these relationships naturally shifting. Some may fall away, and that's okay. They're making room for connections that truly serve you, that energize you, that support your growth. Some of you might be thinking, if I start saying no, if I stop always being available, won't people leave me? Won't I end up alone? It's a valid concern. But here's the truth: being surrounded by people who don't respect your boundaries, who drain your energy, who take advantage of your softness, that's the real loneliness. True connection comes from authenticity, from mutual respect, from balance, give and take. And that's exactly what you're creating by learning to stop being soft to everyone. As you continue on this journey, you'll start to notice a shift in your energy. Tasks that used to drain you might start to invigorate you. Why? Because you're approaching them from a place of choice rather than obligation. You're engaging because you want to, not because you feel you have to. This shift in energy is transformative. It affects not just how you feel, but how you perform, how you interact with others, how you show up in the world. Imagine waking up each morning with a sense of purpose and excitement. Imagine approaching your day not with a sense of dread about all the obligations you have to fulfill, but with anticipation for the opportunities you've chosen to engage with. That's the power of learning to stop being soft to everyone. It's not just about saying no, it's about creating space to say a wholehearted yes to what truly matters to you. Oh, now, some of you might be thinking, but I've always been the reliable one, the one everyone counts on. Won't I be letting people down if I start saying, no, here's a perspective shift for you? By always being available, by always saying yes, you're actually doing a disservice to the people in your life. You're teaching them that it's okay to take you for granted. You're showing them that their needs always come before yours. Is that really the lesson you want to impart? By learning to set boundaries, by sometimes saying no, you're actually teaching the people in your life valuable lessons. You're showing them how to respect others' time and energy. You're demonstrating what healthy relationships look like. You're giving them permission to set their own boundaries, in essence. You're not letting them down, you're lifting them up. As you practice being less soft, you'll start to notice an interesting phenomenon. The quality of your yeses will improve dramatically. When you say yes from a place of choice rather than obligation, you bring a different energy to the task. You're more present, more engaged, more creative. The people around you will notice this shift. They'll value your contributions more because they know they're given freely, not grudgingly. The last time you did something purely because you wanted to, not because you felt you had to. Remember the energy you brought to that task, the satisfaction you felt in doing it. That's the kind of energy we're aiming to bring to more areas of your life. It's not about never helping others or never doing things for people. It's about doing so from a place of genuine desire and enthusiasm rather than obligation and resentment. Self-trust. Many of us have been conditioned to doubt ourselves, to second guess our instincts, to prioritize others' opinions over our own inner knowing. But here's the truth, you know what's best for you. You have an inner wisdom that, if you learn to listen to it, will guide you towards what's right for you. Start paying attention to your gut feelings. Notice when something feels off, even if you can't quite explain why. That's your intuition speaking to you. It's trying to protect you, to guide you towards what's truly in your best interest. As you learn to trust this inner voice, you'll find it easier to set boundaries, to say no to what doesn't serve you, to stop being soft when softness isn't warranted. This journey of self-discovery and self-assertion isn't just about changing your behavior. It's about changing your mindset, your self-perception. It's about recognizing your inherent worth, not as something that needs to be earned through constant people-pleasing, but as something that simply is. You are worthy of respect, of consideration, of having your needs met, simply because you exist. You'll approach relationships not from a place of what can I do to make them like me, but from a place of, is this relationship mutually beneficial? Does it align with my values and goals? This shift in perspective is powerful. It leads to more authentic connections, to relationships built on mutual respect rather than obligation or manipulation. Resilience. As you learn to stop being soft to everyone, you're going to face resistance. There will be people who don't like the new you, who try to push back against your boundaries, who attempt to guilt you into returning to your old, overly accommodating ways. This is where resilience comes in. Resilience isn't about never feeling hurt or discouraged. It's about feeling those things and moving forward anyway. It's about staying committed to your growth, to your self-respect, even when it's uncomfortable. Each time you stand firm in your boundaries, Each time you choose yourself despite external pressure, you're building this resilience. You're becoming stronger, more centered, more unshakable in your sense of self. Think of it like building a muscle. Each rep might be challenging, might even be uncomfortable, but it's making you stronger. Each time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, each time you stand firm in your boundaries, you're doing a rep. You're building your self-respect muscle, your authenticity muscle, your resilience muscle. As you continue on this journey, you'll start to notice changes not just in how others treat you, but in how you treat yourself. The negative self-talk that used to plague you, the voice that said you're not doing enough, not giving enough, not being enough, it starts to quiet down in its place. A new voice emerges, a voice of self-compassion, of self-respect, of self-appreciation. This inner shift is profound. It affects every aspect of your life, your work, your relationships, your health, your dreams. They all benefit from this newfound self-respect. You start making choices not based on fear of disappointing others, but based on what truly aligns with your values and goals. You start pursuing your dreams not as something you'll get to someday when everyone else's needs are met, but as a priority, as something worthy of your time and energy now. A powerful tool in learning to stop being soft to everyone. The pause. In our fast-paced world, we often feel pressure to respond immediately to every demand, every request, every message. But here's a liberating truth. You have the right to pause. You have the right to take a breath, to check in with yourself, to consider whether saying yes truly aligns with your values and priorities. Start practicing the pause. When someone makes a request of you, instead of immediately saying yes out of habit, take a breath. Say, let me think about that and get back to you. This simple act creates space. Space to check in with yourself. Space to consider your other commitments. Space to decide whether this is something you genuinely want to do or something you're just doing to please others. This pause is not about procrastination or avoidance. It's about intentionality. It's about making conscious choices rather than reactive ones. It's about ensuring that your yeses are wholehearted and your nos are clear and guilt-free. As you practice the pause, you'll start to notice something interesting. The quality of your decisions improves. You find yourself saying yes to things that truly excite you, that align with your values, that move you towards your goals. And you find yourself saying no to things that would have drained you, that would have pulled you off course, that would have left you feeling resentful. Now, let's address another common concern that comes up when we talk about stopping being soft to everyone. The fear of conflict. Many of us avoid setting boundaries or saying no because we're afraid of the potential conflict it might create. But here's a perspective shift for you. Clear boundaries actually reduce conflict in the long run. When you're always soft, always accommodating, you often end up in situations you don't want to be in. You find yourself doing things you don't want to do. This breeds resentment, frustration, even anger. And these negative emotions often come out sideways, leading to passive-aggressive behavior, unexplained outbursts, or a general sense of tension in your relationships. On the other hand, when you're clear about your boundaries, when you're honest about what you can and cannot do, you're actually preventing conflict. Yes, there might be some initial discomfort as people adjust to the new you, but in the long run, your relationships become clearer, more honest, more respectful. People know where they stand with you. They respect your time and energy because you're modeling that respect for yourself. Notice how you feel after different interactions, different activities. What energizes you? What drains you? This awareness is crucial. It's your personal guide to what truly serves you and what doesn't. Start thinking of your energy as a precious resource, because it is. Just as you wouldn't pour money down the drain. Don't pour your energy into situations, relationships, or obligations that don't serve you. Start budgeting your energy just as you would your finances. Invest it wisely in the people, activities, and goals that truly matter to you. This isn't about becoming selfish. It's about becoming intentional. It's about recognizing that when you're energized, when you're operating from a place of abundance rather than depletion, you actually have more to give. You're more present for your loved ones, more creative in your work, more engaged in your community. Now, as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a powerful visualization exercise. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself a year from now, after you've committed to this journey of stopping being soft to everyone. See yourself standing tall, confident, centered. Feel the sense of peace that comes from living authentically, from honoring your boundaries, from prioritizing your well-being. In this vision, see the quality of your relationships. Notice how they've deepened, how they're built on mutual respect and understanding. See how you're showing up in your work, bringing your full energy and creativity because you're no longer drained by constant people pleasing. Notice the progress you've made towards your personal goals, the dreams you're actively pursuing because you've created space for them in your life. This vision isn't just a fantasy. It's a preview of what's possible when you commit to this journey of self-respect and authenticity. It's the life you're creating with every boundary you set, every intentional choice you make, every time you choose to stop being soft when softness isn't warranted. As you open your eyes and come back to the present moment, I want you to hold on to that vision. Let it be your guide, your motivation, your North Star as you navigate this journey. Remember, stopping being soft to everyone isn't about becoming hard or uncaring. It's about becoming whole. It's about living with integrity, aligning your actions with your values, and creating a life that truly fulfills you. You have everything you need to begin this journey right now. You have the wisdom to know what truly serves you. You have the strength to set boundaries. You have the courage to live authentically. Trust in yourself. Believe in your worth. And remember, every time you honor your boundaries, every time you choose to stop being soft when it doesn't serve you, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the world around you. You're creating a ripple effect of authenticity, self-respect, and genuine connection. So go forth with confidence. Embrace this journey of self-discovery and self-assertion. Know that there will be challenges, but also know that you're capable of overcoming them. Each step you take towards stopping being soft to everyone is a step towards a more authentic, fulfilling life. And that, my friends, is a journey worth taking.